Mark, people always say that they're trying to make movies too woke and make them true to the world that we live in. I would disagree, because if that was the case, this movie would be about a demon trying to remove a priest from a child, not the other way around. Too dark?
A little bit, yeah.
I apologise.
And, before I forget,
I'll kill you if this is a joke.
You want to die tonight?
The You Run Podcast.
The You Run Podcast.
The You Run Podcast. The You Run Podcast.
Why isn't it possible?
I can't say nothing. Or Candyman'll get me.
You choose the movies.
I had a heart on this morning when I woke up, Tina. Had your name written all over it.
You score them.
Nice fucking model!
You review them.
For that you get the head, the tail, the whole damn thing.
Why not, you stupid bastard?
My name is very fucking confused. What's your name?
Captain Howdy.
You don't want to go fooling around other folks' property.
In my goddamn soul. Where's a beer?
Because after all, this is not our show. This is your show.
Hello and welcome to the You Run Podcast Horror Movie Review, part of the You Run Podcast Network. We are the original and, dare I say it, the best horror movie review show run and controlled by you. My name is Scott.
And my name is Mark.
And we give you more ways to shake a stick at to get involved in the show. And the easiest way to do that is to go to our social media, which is at You Run Podcast on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Thread, Slasher, and X. If you'd like to follow Mark, you can do that too. He's at MW_horror_reviews on Instagram and Slasher, and at MW_horror_VHS on Instagram and TikTok. God, that's a mouthful. It's getting more every time. I got invited to a new social media today, and I was like, "Look, I'm kind of social media'd out. I can't do any more."
Which one was that?
What is it? Blue Sky. It's one that you get to by invite only. It's like Twitter, but it's not available to the wider public yet.
Ooh, like a cult. I like that.
Yeah, I like the idea of it, but it just gives me another social media to keep on top of, and I'm not in for that. I've got enough.
Yeah, I've fully deleted my Twitter account now. I just couldn't be arsed with it. I couldn't handle the pressure. It's one of them ones where I just never went on. So I was like, you know what, just get rid of it. So I'm no longer on Twitter. Yeah,
I wouldn't worry, because Elon Musk's going to start charging everyone for it soon, and then no one will be on Twitter.
Yeah, what a waste of money that guy spent on buying that thing, because he's done nothing but sold it down the river since.
Yeah, I think that's why he renamed it. It's X went bankrupt as opposed to he broke Twitter. Sounds better. You can also send us an email, yourunpodcast@gmail.com, or you can record us a voicemail wherever you can record audio DMs. So I know that's Instagram, it's Threads, it's TikTok. There's loads of places you can do it. And we have one today just for you, Mark.
Oh, marvellous.
Here you go.
Say that the scream I scrumped, hearing Mark trying to do an Australian accent, but it really just came out like a shitty Southern accent, sort of like mine. But, Mark, you have to remember, think about Crocodile Dundee. That's not a knife. This is a knife. And then you kind of got it. See what I'm saying, bro? Anyways, still listening to the episode. Love you guys.
That was one of the worst things I've ever done in my life.
Honestly, we received more messages about that than we did about the actual episode.
That's not a good sign for me, though. That means there's going to be an influx of fucking read it out in a Korean accent and read it out in a Russian accent. It's like, how?
I like this, because you're just suggesting things for people to suggest.
No. Let's edit that bit out.
You can also leave us a review on lots of different podcast platforms, and we'd love it if you do that. It really helps boost the show, and it helps new people find us, and that's really cool, and we'll love you for that. If you've never listened before, we'll share listener scores, critic scores, before we give you a brief synopsis of the movie. We then dive into spoilers and our thoughts on what we've watched. We have lots of interactive features, your thoughts on the movies, facts, a game, final thoughts and scores. But before we do any of that, I think we should do news. I'm going to let you run with news this week because you always complain.
Only because and because you probably know exactly where I'm going first with this.
Honest to God, if it's not where I think it is, I will be amazed.
So this week's first bit of news from me is that Miramax have won the rights for Halloween. This has been a very confusing week around the Halloween franchise in terms of what's actually going on. It came out that A24 had won the rights, and then immediately an hour later, it turned out that was incorrect, and Miramax has actually won the bidding rights to it.
Yeah.
Now, it is still kind of confusing as well, because apparently they've only won the rights to the TV show.
But they already own the rights to the movies.
They own a percentage of the rights, so they can still ship this out back to Blumhouse or to A24 still if they wanted to, but they would still have a percentage share of the rights. So them owning the TV rights and then owning a percentage share of the movie rights gives them more control of making a cinematic universe, which is what they are originally trying to do with this, I think. If they own the TV rights and then they also have a percentage of the movie rights, what they can do is they could have a Michael Myers set of movies, but then they could also have a spin-off TV series based around the movies that they have full control over. And I think that's probably where they'll go with it.
Yeah, I think they will as well. I mean, A24, I thought, had this in the bag. So Paramount pulled out. And when Paramount pulled out, I jumped all over social media going, wait for the announcement, it's going to be A24. And literally within the hour, Miramax made me look a cock.
Same here. I was all over. I was like, yeah, this is great. And I was talking about how well I think this is going to be handled by A24 and that it's in safe hands. And then an hour later, that was all false.
The thing is, I think A24 would have had the guts to do something slightly different. I get the feeling Miramax are just going to go with the tried and tested Michael Myers stalks people formula, where I think A24 maybe would have gone more Rob Zombie and dived into more about Michael, and maybe we would have got some dream sequences in Michael's head, or we'd have got incorporation of the Silver Shamrock Company into the Myers story. And there's no way Miramax are going to do that. They're just going to play it as safe as they can.
I mean, at the end of the day, it's Mustafa Akkad I think it's Mustafa. Is it Mustafa? What is his son?
It's his son. I can't think what his son's called now.
No, but basically he's going to have the final say regardless. He's going to tell them where he wants to take it and what he wants them to do with it. The creative control of it is going to be solely down to him going forward anyway. And I think no matter what they decide to do, they're going to have to ask his permission before they execute it regardless.
Yeah.
So we will get more of the same, maybe slightly different, maybe more stylized, but I don't know. I don't want a TV based anything from this franchise.
Just get really excited to hear the lines "Evil dies tonight" when they resurrect him from the wood chipper, and this is a sequel trilogy.
I'd be all right with that. But I don't want it on TV.
But if they done, I'd be happy for some movies, and then they done a TV series that followed Season of the Witch that tied into the movies. That would be good, and keep Michael off of TV.
I mean, the thing is, like, if you'd have taken the Gordon Green trilogy and he'd have actually stuck the landing with ends and shown that final scene where it was the Silver Shamrock logo inside the mask.
Yeah.
You don't need to put that in the film, but you could go off and have a TV series explaining it.
Yeah.
Which would be cool. I would take that and leave Michael out of the TV series and have a sort of story expanding and developing the production of the mask and the powers that the mask holds, and then we flip back to a film.
Yeah.
Which is just basically Michael killing in Haddonfield. We don't need to have all that in the film.
Yeah,
so that would have worked for me, but I don't think that's what we're going to get. And at the moment, it's all just a big convoluted mess of theories and ideas. And I think more often than not, the fans are going to want something different and crave something unique and a change in the franchise. But we are just going to get a rinse and repeat of what we've had for the past 30, 40 years.
We are, but... Hey, well, I'm going to talk about something fresh that's just come out, which I don't normally do. Totally Killer. Have you seen this yet?
No, this is the girl from Sabrina.
Yeah, it's the girl from Sabrina, and the only way I can describe this is it's Halloween hot tub time machine.
All right, okay, that sounds good. Is it not like Happy Death Day kind of thing?
No, see, everyone said it was like that, and everyone said it was like Final Girls, and honestly, it's not. It's a slasher movie where the girl gets into a photo booth, pretty much like a hot tub. She travels back in time with the killer. So back in time, you've got the killer from the original timeline, and you've now got the aged killer in the 80s. But the reason I want people to go and watch it, if you grew up in the late 80s, early 90s, this nails our childhood so well. The lack of care and like consideration from parents, teachers, it just got all of it. Like she turns up at the school, she's like, "Oh, I'm an exchange student." And like she starts giving this big story, and the teacher's like, "Yeah, just fill in that form. You're in this class. There's your rota." She's like, do you not need to like verify it? She's like, "What do you mean verify it? No, you told me what it is. Just sign the piece of paper." There's loads of that, and there's loads of like, she runs and tells the police that there's kids underage drinking, and the police are like, it's a Friday night. What's your point? But it's a really fun movie, and it's one that has dipped under the radar, which is kind of why I wanted to put it into news. It's a really fun 90 minutes that you walk away and go, that was shit, but I really enjoyed it. It's very much like Hot Tub Time Machine. You go, that was dog shit, but it was great.
Yeah, because this is on Prime at the moment as well, so it has been on my sort of Halloween watch list.
Yeah.
So I will get through to it this month at some point or another.
Definitely do. And if anyone's umming and ahhing about it, if you like sort of campy slashers and you like things like Hot Tub Time Machine and Back to the Future, you'll love this. The amount of references to Back to the Future is almost to the point it's plagiarism. It's so good. And they make a point of like Back to the Future is out in 2023 where she goes back in time, but they go back to the year Back to the Future come out. So she's asking people, have you seen Back to the Future? It's like, no, it's not at the cinema. I've heard it's all right. I might go and check it out. It's really
that's cool.
It's really cool.
Yeah, all right. I'll definitely watch that then this Halloween season, I think.
What else have you got for us? Or are you just stuck on Halloween?
Mainly, it has consumed my life for the past week, so not a lot. But this has come out today that Rick and Michonne are back in The Walking Dead: The Ones Who Lived. We've got our first teaser trailer for this. It doesn't really show us a lot, if I'm honest with you. It's just a few simple second snippets of Rick and Michonne and more zombies. But that being said, I haven't watched anything after The Walking Dead, and I still haven't finished The Walking Dead past season, I don't know, the snow episode. But I will be picking this back up when it comes out in February. I have to know what happened to Rick, so that's the only reason I will be checking it out. And I think this will probably be the most successful spin-off series that comes, because everybody wants this to continue and happen. Because this is our Walking Dead, regardless of what happened once Rick left. For a lot of fans, this is The Walking Dead. So a lot of people are waiting on this to come out. So I think it's going to be pretty good.
I vowed that I would never watch any Walking Dead after they ended it. Wasn't interested in any of the spin-off series. Spin-off series with Maggie and Negan's really good. The Daryl Dixon spin-off series is also very good. So
I've heard that one's pretty good, actually.
The Daryl Dixon one is a little bit more far-fetched. You need to suspend your belief of what you know about the Walking Dead world. The Maggie one, Maggie and Negan's great. Negan is phenomenal, and I think it's a real misstep that they put him in that series with Maggie and they didn't commit to put him with Rick.
Yeah,
he's so wasted in that series.
Eventually they might intertwine and we'll pick the Walking Dead regular series back up again as normal.
Yeah, they'll do these spin-off series. There's going to be 2 or 3 seasons of the Maggie one. There'll be 2 or 3 seasons of Daryl Dixon. There'll be a couple of seasons of Rick and Michonne. And then they'll go, how can we milk some more money out of this? Is everyone up for a one more time season where you all come back together? And they're all going to go, are you still paying us $1 million an episode? Yes, we're in.
Yeah. And then they'll do one big round off farewell tour, won't they, I think?
Yeah, and then they'll do some movies, then they'll find another way, and then they'll reboot it, and we'll start again, and we'll be talking about this in 30 years' time.
Most probably, but I mean, I'm excited for it. As I said, I'm not really bothered with anything else, but this is one that I'll definitely be watching in February. And if you want to see the tidbit trailer, you can see it now online, but it doesn't really show you a lot.
No, it doesn't. My last bit of news is Hellraiser 2 has finally been greenlit by Hulu.
Nice.
Yeah, about time. It's taken forever.
It has, man. It has. And I think the thing is as well with stuff like this is just go back to how it was in the 80s. Just give us one every year. What they did with the Gordon Green trilogy was great because it had momentum every year. Obviously, barring the pandemic break, we knew every year we were getting a Halloween movie, good or bad. That's what we were doing that October.
Yeah.
And I think they need to go back to doing that and just pumping them out again.
Well, you think the streaming services, as much as they're in competition, they all talk to each other. So we've got a Crystal Lake series coming. So why doesn't Paramount talk to Shudder, talk to whoever and go, right, you're doing Crystal Lake this year. So next year you leave Crystal Lake alone because you need time to produce it. We're going to release Hellraiser. This one's going to release that one. And just give us a constant roll of horror instead of we get everything. And then we sit here for 2 years going, where the fuck is all our horror movies?
Yeah. Yeah. And that's it. It's just that era of like Child's Play films coming out every year, Halloween movies coming out every year, a Freddy movie we used to get every year. It's like, just go back to that time, good or bad, just fucking pump it out, man. Just give us content. And this has got nothing to do with the Hellraiser franchise at all. I'm very excited that we're finally getting a sequel to that, but it just made me think that they should really be living in that world where just keep them coming.
Yeah, and I like that. So the director said that he listened to the fans. He took on board all of the good response, and he also took on board a lot of the criticism. And he said,
so is he returning again for the sequel?
He's returning. So are the writers, and they're saying that they're really taking on board what fans have said and what fans want to see, and they're incorporating that into their script to give a little bit of fan service, which again is a good thing.
Yeah, I like the remake. I thought it was really, really good. It was a bit long in the tooth. Could have been trimmed down a good 30 minutes, I feel.
Yeah.
It tried to be bigger than the actual story of Hellraiser is. It's a pretty basic A to B premise.
Yeah, play with box, demons come, you get fucked, the end.
Yeah, that's it. And it tried to be something bigger than that and more elevated, if you want, as much as I hate using that word.
That's an excellent segue word into today, though.
Oh.
So I'm going to deliberately cut you off and use the term elevated to step into. I'm sure we are in the middle of Halloween season, and it's a really busy time for me and Mark. So last week was a new release. This week was a new release, which means multiple cinema trips. 2 in as many weeks. Possession, Crucifix Masturbation, one of the greatest horror movies ever made. Oh no, wait, that was the original. Today we're talking about David Gordon Green's soft reboot / sequel to The Exorcist, The Exorcist Believer.
Good day. Hey, be home by dinner.
I love you. Good morning, Mr. Fielding.
Morning, Catherine.
And here are your daughters, Angela and Catherine. It's about 7 hours ago, and that's the last information we have.
Catherine!
Angela?
If you can hear this, we love you. Please come home.
Hey, you found her? What are you and Catherine doing out there in those woods?
You were just walking and walking. That's all I remember.
Angela, can you tell your dad how long you were gone?
A few hours.
Baby, you've been gone 3 days.
What'd you say?
I didn't say nothing.
Thought I heard you say something.
Hey, baby. You okay?
Wherever those girls went, they brought something back with them.
The body and the blood of Jesus Christ.
Body in the blood? Body in the blood?
Catherine.
Body in the blood. The body and the blood. The body and the blood.
Catherine.
The body and the blood. The body and the blood.
Have you ever seen anything like this?
Mommy?
No, but there are people out there who have.
You have some experience with possession.
Yes, more than I'd like.
I believe you can help get our girls back.
Exorcism is a ritual. Every culture, every religion, they all use different methods. It's going to take all of them.
Don't be scared.
We've met before.
What did you do?
Is that Catherine's heartbeat?
They're beating in sync.
God played a trick on you.
So the listeners score the movies first. The listeners have come in hot as fuck this week. 4 out of 10.
All right.
IMDb 5.1 out of 10, and Letterboxd 2.3 out of 5. So this has not scored well.
It's a middle of the road, then, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, I don't know. The slightly below from the listeners.
Yeah.
You get our scores at the end when we do our roundup. I'm going to give you a brief synopsis of what this is, and then we'll kind of roll into it. This movie takes place 50 years after the events of the original. It ignores all of the sequels, which is kind of the Gordon Green thing now. 2 girls go missing in the woods. When they return, they're not quite themselves. Cue tubular bells. Honestly, there's not much more to say for a synopsis. That's it. We will talk about this movie in great depth. If you've not seen it, we will absolutely ruin this movie for you. So, Heather, can you please give a spoiler warning?
You can read the fucking episode title and be like, I've never seen this. Don't fucking listen to it then. If y'all haven't seen it, that's not anybody's problem. Don't listen to the damn episode yet.
Thanks, Heather. Every week it makes me smile. If you want to hear more of Heather ranting like that, you can do that on You Run Podcast True Crime as well. So if you've searched You Run Podcast, True Crime will come up too. Before I say anything about this movie, I want to say something else. If it's your first time listening, you need to know this. If you listen all the time, you probably already do. Possession and paranormal horror movies are my favorite type of horror movies. This is my wheelhouse. This is, if I'm looking for a horror movie, I'm looking for a possession movie. I'm looking for a ghost movie. I'm not looking for a slasher. I may be overcritical of this because the things I'm looking for in this movie are not there. That doesn't necessarily mean this is a bad movie. It just didn't tick the boxes for me.
I like the way you're putting a warning out just for your own criticisms for this film.
I have a lot to say, and I want to make sure that people don't just think I'm ripping into it to be edgy or cool. I have genuine issues with this movie.
Oh, that's okay. I'm on the flip side. I actually liked it. So,
really?
I did, yeah. I thought it was all right. I thought it was all right.
Okay. Well, let's not give...
Which, to be honest with you, let's be fair, going in after what Gordon Green has done to my favourite franchise, I was ready to take this cunt down. I wanted him to go down hard, and I wanted him to never work in Hollywood ever again. So the fact that I'm sat here now saying I thought it was all right burns a hole in my skull to do so.
Okay, well, that's fine. Then you can live rage vicariously through me. Movie starts out in Haiti. We start out and we meet a couple who are they're just living their life. She's pregnant. She's She's gone for a blessing. She's had a blessing of the baby. And there's an earthquake. And the earthquake basically ends with her trapped under rubble. And I kind of felt this was just, they felt they needed to do a bit in a different country because The Exorcist done that. I don't think this added anything. It added something at the end, but at this point it was like, oh, we're doing shots of the desert. Oh, we're doing, and it just felt like it felt like Gordon Green had watched The Exorcist and went, that was really cool. I need to replicate that. And it irritated me. Like straight away, I was instantly going, I don't like when you've done this.
Yeah, but it was done for me, it was like in homage, not necessarily. I get what you're saying. So this is why this is going to annoy you a lot more than it is me, because for me, I kind of appreciated that he watched the first one and been like, oh yeah, we'll replicate that in a way where it feels similar.
Yeah. Yeah,
so like,
I get what he was doing. Just for me, it didn't land. I think where he'd used like almost identical shots to get certain landmarks, and I'm like, fuck you. Do your own, at least do your own shot. Don't just mimic this like dead shot of heat waves across the buildings. It's like, just do something that's yours.
Yeah, but he did in a way because he incorporated the fact that the guy who is the lead is a photographer. So he was photographing these images and these shots and these landscapes, and it gives perfect exposition into who this character is and what he's about. He's on holiday with his wife. He's photographing these shots. So I think for me, it was a good balance between paying homage to the original opening of The Exorcist while at the same time using that as a way to develop who these characters are pretty simply, and also giving us all the information we need to, really. I don't know. I didn't mind it. I can understand why you would think it was lazy and cheap.
Yeah.
But I didn't particularly mind it.
His wife dies, and we find this out quite quickly because his wife dies and we jump 13 years later and meet his daughter.
Yeah, but I just want to mention something about his wife dying, which I think is pretty important to the story. Early on, when she does end up in hospital, the doctors say to him, you have a choice. You can only save one, either your baby or your wife. We can't save them both.
That is a horrific choice.
It's an awful, awful choice to have to make. And we find out that we then skip forward to 10 years later, I believe it is. I don't know how old his daughter is at this point, but his daughter's still alive.
It's 13 years later, I think it is, because she's a teenager.
Yeah, and then we find out his daughter's alive, so we were automatically assuming that he made the choice to save his daughter in that instance.
Yeah, and I found that quite impactful because I don't know what choice I would make put on the spot doing that. I thought about it at the time. I was like, honestly, I don't know the answer.
I think that decision is an easy decision to make if you're not already a parent. Like, if you have kids, then you can relate to that situation where you're like that, you know what a child brings.
Yeah.
But if you don't have a child and you just have the idea of this thing that you've never met, or the wife that you've spent 20 years of your life building.
Yeah.
Does it make the decision easier or harder? I mean, I have a daughter, so right now for me, my wife's dead. but not having a daughter, I don't know if I would look at that situation differently and be like, well, I've got no connection to this thing that's inside of her at this moment in time. Like, does that make the situation easier or harder to make?
Yeah, it's a really hard choice. And I like the fact they added that. I think that's a really good element because I think every parent in there watching that went, oh, what would I choose? Oh, I wonder. And then they're all sat in the cinema looking at their wife going, oh, you moaned about the price of the popcorn and
it were for you, I'd have that really nice car right now.
Yeah. We jump 13 years later, we'll meet Angela. She is a phenomenal actress. She is leagues above lots of child actresses. I think she's great.
Yeah, really good. I think the casting across the board is pretty solid here.
Yeah, it really is. The dynamic between her and her dad is a bit weird, but you would expect it to be a bit weird. Like, the dad is super overprotective, and I get it. It makes sense. You've lost your wife. There's no way you're letting your daughter do anything ever.
No.
Ever. And I love this scene where they're playing like she runs off with his bacon because she's a vegetarian or a vegan. I can't remember which one they decided to make her. And then he chases her and she does this kind of thing where she sneaks around and makes him jump. I thought that was really cool. It's a really nice, it shows that they have a happy family dynamic. Great.
Yeah, yeah. And you completely understand why he's being so overbearing with her based on the trauma he's been through.
Yeah, I completely get it and I completely sympathize, and I would be exactly the same. My children would never, ever leave the house, ever.
No.
We get to meet some of the neighbours as they're going to school. His neighbour across the road is obviously his mate. He's like, oh, hi, I'll see you at the gym later. The woman who lives next to him, the actress who plays her, I think is fabulous. She is also in The Handmaid's Tale. And in that, she plays Aunt Lydia. She plays bitch so well.
I don't like her. I remember texting you at the time. I was like, I just don't like her. I think she's terribly miscast in this movie, especially considering the importance she plays and how much of a pivotal role she has in this film. I don't know why it is, because she's not a bad actress at all. And it feels really unfair for me to criticize her and be like, I don't like you, because I'm sure she's a really lovely woman. But I don't know. I just don't buy into her a lot as an actress. When I see her on screen, I'm like, I don't like you. And I know that, and I think who's the comedic actress who's in Cocaine Bear who plays like
she
reminds
similar.
me, they look very similar and they're very similar looking people. So when I see the hair, I just automatically think of the comedic woman who plays a very similar role in a lot of films. And I don't know why. I just can't separate the two. So it's a personal thing. It's a me thing than it is a hair thing. But I just didn't like her that much in this film.
It's not you, it's me.
Yeah.
I like her. I love her in The Handmaid's Tale. She's a very talented actress. She plays nasty very well. And she's like, are you going to leave your bins there all the time? Like, your bins have been out for 3 days. Why have you not taken them in? And the dad's like, to turn around to Angela, like, why didn't you take the bins in? She's like, it was your turn this week. He's like, no, it wasn't. And then he literally just drives off and he gives a wave and a smile. It's like, good for you. That makes no attempt to take the bins in at all.
Oh, man, if that was me, I'd have just been like, mind your own business. I wouldn't be able to help myself. If someone was like, take your bins in, I'm like, shut up. Leave. If it bothers you that much, you move my bins.
Yeah, see, I'm one step further. I'm the person who would wheel them and put them in front of her house and then drive off. On the way to school, Angela's saying that she wants to go and study after school with her friend Catherine. She's like, you never let me do anything. And they've had quite a good morning. And the dad goes, look, okay, just this one time, you can go study with your friends and I'll see you when you get in. The study meet is not a study meet. It's some weird ritual in the woods.
Seance.
I didn't get it. I didn't. It was such a big leap so quickly. It's like there's no build up to there's been any discussion about this or they were going to do it. They just literally, you see them finish school and they fuck off into the woods with a candle.
Yes. And we do get context to it later on, but I agree with you in terms of this movie, it was misplaced in terms of exposition for the rest of the film. So we find out that her friend is part of the church and she's a really big church goer. We also now know that the main female that we're following, the dad's daughter, lost her mum. Yeah. She's obviously dealing with that and wants to reconnect. The girl from the church, she's obviously telling you, well, we at the church believe in this and we can do this. So they go for this seance together.
Yeah.
But you're right. It just comes out of nowhere. It's completely left field. They're in the woods. They're doing this seance and we're just sat there like, what?
Yeah. And it's shot really weird as well. So like you get a shot of the candle, then you get a shot of their face flickering and then it just goes black.
Yeah.
And then you see the dad get home and his daughter's not there and he starts doing calling round, like calls Catherine's mum and like, oh, they said they were going for a study break here. And she's like, no, they said they were going for a study break here. And this breaks down to them reporting the girls missing.
Yeah.
This is got to be every parent's worst nightmare.
Oh, awful. I couldn't imagine having to go through that. And I think as a dad, what he does in terms of trying to find her is fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah, he's very I wouldn't say relentless, but he's got an idea of what he needs to do. He's searching, he's talking to people, he's going to the homeless shelters because he's found out from the police that homeless people hang around that area, and he's questioning them, and he really is making an effort. Catherine's parents, on the other hand, not as much. They're kind of just sticking up a couple of posters and keeping their faith in the Lord, as the God types do.
One of them turned into Batman, and the other one is just a bumbling mess.
Yeah, and again, I understand both reactions. You're going to go one way or the other. I think I would be the one who'd still be traipsing around the forest at 3 a.m, sleeping against a tree, getting up and continuing to look.
Yeah, I think I would be the same. I'd like to think I would be that person. Yeah,
and they do a good job here of building tensions between the families as well. So, like, Angela's dad's like, my girl's always been good. I don't mean to sound like I'm being disrespectful. We've got a fucking great relationship. And she's never done any of this shit before. The one time I let her hang out with your daughter, the whole world's gone to hell.
Yeah. But you would do, though, wouldn't you? You would be like, especially when you have such a tight bond like they do, your first port of call would be to blame the other kid's daughter, as horrible as that is, because they're just kids.
Yeah. But it makes sense. It genuinely fits, and it ticks. This whole part of the kids being missing is very authentic.
Yeah.
And he's done an excellent job, and the characters are all great. They deliver fabulous performances, and I can't fault this part of the movie. The girls get found.
I'm with you on that. As I've said, I like this film, and I can't fault it for those reasons either. The only negative I'm going to have to say about this sort of first half is it's quite boring.
Yeah.
The pacing on it isn't brilliant, and it does drag a little bit. And we're talking about the positive aspects of it, but when you're watching it play out, it just feels really long.
And I think part of the reason for that is they showed us too much in the trailer. We know where this is going. We know the girls get found. And we're
just wanting to get there. This is like 40 minutes of the film is them trying to find these kids.
Yeah. Yeah. And all we're doing is going, come on, find them. Because I know when you find them, they're both possessed. I want to be at that bit now.
Yeah. So, and I think for me, it was more, maybe you're right. Maybe it's more of an impatience thing because we know where we're going with it. Yeah. So why are we wasting time doing this? But if I hadn't seen a trailer, maybe I wouldn't be looking at that.
Well, I think had they done the trailer and they'd left out the girls going missing, just not showing that in the trailer at all, and just showing the possession bits, we'd have been really interested because we'd have been like, how did they get possessed? Why are they going into the woods? What's going on? Oh shit, they can't find them. What happened? We'd care, but we don't care because we know they get possessed.
Yeah.
And we know that we already know this bit where they get lost exists. That's the problem.
And it's already based on an already existing property, so we know what we're signing on for. It's like it's hard, man. It's hard, and I empathise with Gordon Green from that point of view because it is hard to try and translate this kind of story well enough, especially when you're trying to build the kind of background that he is at the beginning of this movie. Yeah. But it just felt
slow.
Yeah, man. Yeah, and I hate to say that because the performances and the story development's really, really good, but overall it just came across as really drab.
Yeah, it did. They find the girls, and this goes into a homage I think he actually done really well, which is the medical testing and the photographing of the girls and their injuries. I really like this. I like the fact that I felt worried and like I could see these girls were just so distressed, and like there's one bit where they do rape kits on the girls and they show you that like one of the dad goes out and the other dad sits there and holds it's a really well done, emotionally charged section of scenes, and they also do the reveal that the girls think they've been gone a couple of hours and in fact they've been gone 3 days. I loved all of this. This is all great.
Brilliant, because the thing is as well, in these moments, they're doing all this stuff and they're doing all the medical examinations and then they do the cervix checks to see if they have been sexually interfered with. Because that is where your mind goes. If your kid goes missing for 3 days in the woods, as awful as it is, that's what you assume. Someone has abducted them and taken them, and this is what's happened.
Yeah.
And it's every parent's worst nightmare. And when it's done and shown out in the way it is here, I think it's one of the most effective scenes in the film.
Yeah, I do. The one problem I've got with this section of scenes is the really unbalanced amount that we see the girls. We see a lot of Angela and we don't see very much of Catherine. We get glimpses of what's going on with Catherine, but it all revolves around Angela. And I'd rather they'd flicked between the two and made this more an even spread that both of these girls are going through it. Because I know Catherine's going through it, but I only see Angela go through it. So I've got no real connection to Catherine. This sounds horrible, but I'm not really bothered by her because I've not seen her suffer the same trauma that I've seen Angela suffer.
No, and that's one thing that I think would have made the climax of this movie a lot more impactful had they had an equal sharing throughout this film. Instead of just focusing so much on Angela and her dad, but we got an equal amount of focus on Catherine and her parents throughout, and it was a very balanced dynamic all the way through the film. I don't want to get to the closing act just yet, but obviously if there was a balanced side all the way through of both characters, and we were equally invested in both sides of the families.
Yeah, I'd care about the ending if that was the case. We're not there yet. I didn't care. No. I didn't care about the ending, but we'll get there.
I really did.
They send the girls home. We get some scenes of Angela at home being particularly creepy and a little bit off. There's a scene where Dad's brushing his teeth and the light's out in the hall, and then she flicks the light on and she's like fucking 2 inches from his head. I was like,
she's like, did you say something? Or what did you say? Or something like that. I was like, man. I mean, I've had moments like this with my daughter where she's like woken up in the middle of the night and like my bathroom's next to her bedroom. So I'll like get up randomly in the morning to go for a wee at like 2 a.m. and she'll just be there stood at the gate, like staring, not saying anything, just stood there because she's woken up, but she doesn't want to disturb anyone. I'm like, holy shit, what are you doing?
Yeah, I've had it before where I've opened my eyes as my daughter's got almost nose to nose with me to see if I'm awake. And it's like getting shock paddled awake. Your heart goes, your stomach sinks, you leap up. And then she's like, are you okay? No, I'm not okay.
Yeah, you see, I worry that happens to us one day because we have a baby gate up to stop that happening in the night.
Yeah, that goes.
But if that
eventually.
gate wasn't, if that goes and like I'm woken up at like 3 a.m. by a child's face staring at me, there's a high possibility I may knock out my daughter.
Do you know there is nothing creepier, and anyone who's got kids will agree with me, I'm sure. There's nothing creepier than opening your eyes in a pitch black room, not being able to see anything, and all you hear is, "Hi, Daddy."
Oh, mate, I'd just be like throwing fists, like, whoa, what the fuck, get away.
It is proper creepy. Angela has an instant where she wets the bed. The dad here kind of does the awkward shit. I've got a teen daughter who's having lots of issues and she's wet the fuck, how do I deal with it? And he puts her in the bathroom and kind of awkwardly closes the door as if to say, well, you sort yourself out, shit, I don't know how to deal with this.
Yeah.
Again, all authentic, all great. This is where it starts to fall off for me. Like, she has this weird, like, screaming, bizarre fit moment where I'm assuming that's Pazuzu taking control. And we find out, as she's taken back into hospital, we find out shortly after this that, well, Angela's been institutionalized effectively now. And we find out that Catherine's just been kept at home and her parents are looking after her and using the power of the Lord.
Yeah.
And I like the two different parenting styles. I just don't think they handled this transition of the actual possession very well. It all happens really quick. It's like possession movies are meant to be a slow build, that it's tormenting you and then it wins you and then it takes you and then it really takes control over you. And this is like, they come back from the woods, you're possessed. you've had one moment where you've wet the bed and now you are fully possessed. You've got no control anymore. And it's just such a quick bang, bang, we're possessed. Let's get going. And it annoyed me so much.
Yeah, I agree with you there. I think those moments that you got where he is brushing his teeth and she like creeps in behind him, I feel like we could have had a lot more of that.
Yeah.
That slow build, like you said, introducing just the abnormal behavior of the kids and like doing creepy things around the house. I mean, we do see a lot more of that with Catherine than we do with Angela when she's at the church and things like that. That's a really, really cool scene.
Yeah, I kind of brushed over that scene where she's taken to the church by her parents.
Yes.
I'll let you talk us through this. I thought this scene was really good.
It was brilliant. And I mean, what they do is the parents take Angela to church, and they're obviously part of this whole big church community goers. They're there and they're doing this special service in basically welcoming Catherine's safe return. And you can see Catherine slowly not being herself anymore. She sat within the pew next to her sister. Her sister's looking at her and she's like doing like weird tics and strange movements with her body, taking her shoes off. Apparently the shoes off thing's a big thing in this, which I didn't quite understand. We'll get to that soon. Taking her shoes off, and then she just sort of disappears. Her dad goes off to look for her. He finds her, the room that she's gone into all smashed up, the holy wine and communion stuff all over the floor. And then she walks down the aisle.
Yeah.
Chanting the body and the blood.
The body and the blood. The body and the blood.
And it's creepy, man.
Yeah.
It's creepy. And I, again, it was in the trailer, so it didn't hold much momentum in the film. But had it not been in the trailer, this would have been a really, really cool scene. I mean, it is still a cool scene in the movie. It's just we already knew it was coming.
Yeah, and this annoys me because the trailer for this was so long. This trailer was like 3 minutes, 10 seconds. It's like such a big chunk, and they took so many of the scenes that are really impactful and slung them in the trailer. And like you say, when you watch them, you're like, oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if we'd have watched that and not known it was coming, that'd have been oh, fuck, that's not good.
We do get one of those scenes coming up, which I was like, oh, that was fucking cool.
we do. So the kids are now, like, one's being at home, being looked after, effectively institutionalized at home. You've got Angela, who's been actually institutionalized, as being seen by psychiatrists and doctors. And the dad starts searching for help. And he kind of is in a position where he will take help from anyone or anything that is willing to help him. And it's actually his neighbour. His neighbour's one of the nurses who's looking after his daughter. This is the arsehole neighbour. And she hands him a book saying, look, I don't know much about this, but long and short of it, your daughter's possessed. This book will help you.
Yeah, and the thing is as well, the reason and why he finds out she is possessed, or why she believes that she's possessed, is because of what Angela said to her. Basically, this arsehole neighbour, he's like a reformed Catholic who had a promiscuous past and had a miscarriage. Not had a miscarriage, but she had an abortion.
Yeah.
And in doing so, in getting rid of the baby, she basically changed her life, changed her name, and never spoke of that previous life ever again to anybody.
Yeah.
But Angela knew all of this. She knew the name of that she was going to call the baby. She knew times and dates and things that she'd done. So she was like, there is no possible way that your daughter could have known those things about me.
Because I've never told anyone. Yeah.
Because I've never told anyone. So this is something higher. This is a higher power that's taken over her. And the only thing that I know of this that's happened in the past is of this lady here. Yeah. Who is
Yeah, Chris McNeil. She was also going to be ordained as a nun. She was going to take vows as a nun, and Angela refers to her as sister, whatever her nun name was going to be, and then says about her daughter's name as well. So it's really clever.
Yeah, it's really, really clever. I mean, I've seen this once at the cinema. That's it. There's a lot that I've probably missed on a first watch.
Yeah, I went twice to this because when I first walked out and I was so undecided how I felt. There was part of me that loved elements, like I've praised as we've gone through, and there's part of me that was just angry. And I literally come out I rang Lisa and went, look, I'm going to go back in. And I literally walked out. I walked out. I sat in the lobby. I went outside. I toked on my vape for a little while. I went, I'm going to go back in because if I don't, I'm probably going to rip this apart and give no fair analysis. So I watched this twice. This is where the dad goes and finds Chris McNeil. I hated this so much. It's
really?
Like I get it. You need to get her involved, and the way you get her involved, it works. But to get her there and to say that, oh, she doesn't talk to her daughter anymore because she published the book and her daughter didn't like it, and her to have hanging for it was just tacky as fuck. And I hated every second of it. And I'm not going to lie, Chris McNeil phoned in her performance. She's shocking in this.
That lady is 90 years old.
She is the worst actress on this cast by a million miles. I don't care if she's 9 or 99. She's terrible.
There was probably some concern she was not going to make it to the end of production. I think she does all right for her age.
Yeah, I really didn't like this. But Chris McNeil instantly goes, I'll come help you. Yep. Let's go. We'll go right now. She turns into like Rambo. Let's go.
Right, and the thing about this is, which I don't really get and I don't really like about this movie, is Chris McNeil's character, who basically wrote the book on it, she explicitly says to Angela's dad, she's like, look, I never saw it. I never saw the exorcism. I just witnessed the aftermath and the stuff that was going on beforehand. I never actually saw any of it happen.
Yeah.
They both leave and they go to see Angela. Angela's in the mental institution. I hope that's the correct terminology for that. I do apologise if it's wrong.
Yeah. If that's wrong, go with Nut House instead.
That's definitely worse than what I said.
Is that not correct? Damn it.
No. So they go there and Angela has carved Reagan into the floor, which was really cool. And as Chris McNeil walks up to the glass screen that Angela's behind, she looks at her and says, she knows who I am.
Yeah.
They immediately cut and go to, is it Christine's?
Yeah, Catherine's house.
They go to Catherine's house, and this is where we find out that Catherine is basically strapped to the bed and is in full Reagan mode. She's strapped to the bed, and it's exactly like what it is from The Exorcist 1. They're taking that approach with her, as opposed to seeking medical attention.
Yeah, and you get Chris McNeil. So the dad, Angela's dad, goes to check on his mate or the other parents who are having a rough time. The fucking house is trashed. And he's like, let's get you outside. Let's see if you're all right. And Chris McNeil goes for a wander upstairs. And we get a real cheesy scene where she walks in and the possessed Catherine mentions her daughter. She's like, oh, we've met before. I was like, not really. You met her for like a second. You met this demon for a second before the priest kicked you out and took over.
Yeah, and this is my biggest issue with the use of her character. She's clearly specified before this. He's like, I never witnessed the exorcism. I am not an exorcist. I don't really know anything about it other than the fact that I live with my daughter and had this experience. But she walks into this bedroom, and then the next thing you know, she's chanting the power of Christ compels you to Catherine. I'm like, what are you doing? You're not qualified to do this.
No.
But she does it. And I'm like, this is not right. You should not have gone down this path with this character.
No, they really shouldn't have. And the only saving grace here is that Catherine stabs her eyes out.
Brilliant. And I did not see this coming. I was like, whoa, that is a legacy character. You can't do that.
I wish they'd gone the one step further and actually killed her off. And I know that sounds horrible, but I wish they had. Because what we got
I don't, because I kind of like her sticking around.
No, we get the fucking Neo from the Matrix Revolutions moment where he's like, I see you, even though I'm blind. So shit. But she gets taken for medical attention, and this is where, so the neighbour's been petitioning the local priest that they need to get an exorcism done, and they've been to see the bishop, and the bishop's gone, you can't do an exorcism. But the parents and this neighbour decide, fuck it, we're all going to do an exorcism. We're going to do an exorcism together. And they get Angela out of the mental ward, asylum, institute, whatever you want to call it.
I don't think you'd legally be allowed to just take somebody out of that.
Not in a million years would they have discharged her. No way in hell would they have discharged her. But they take both these girls and they take them to this house and they strap them to chairs back to back. And I didn't mention this earlier, you've got a Haitian priest throughout this who tried giving a blessing after the girls first went missing, and the dad kicked her out because there was a Haitian blessing on his wife's belly, and he's like, I don't need this shit. Last time this happened, it all went wrong. And she's now involved, and the dad goes and sees her, and she's like, we can do this ritual, and she's drawing paint on the floor. And I kind of get what they were trying to do, which was to bring multiple faiths in. And even Chris McNeil says every faith has a version of an exorcism. They all revolve around the same thing, which is people. Yeah. It's not the power of Christ. It's the power of people that expel these demons. I get it. I get what they were trying to do. They delivered it so badly. It was so clunky.
Yeah. Yeah, very, very. And I don't want to be one of those people who's like, oh, this was very woke, or, go down that kind of road with it.
Oh, no, this would have worked.
But it kind of felt like it was trying to be that.
It was trying to be that, but had they done this with a little bit more finesse, it would have worked.
That's what I mean. Yeah, like the idea of it sounds brilliant.
Yeah.
But the execution of it feels cheap and feels like they were just trying to be inclusive, and it didn't really have much bearing on the overall story for me.
No, it didn't. It was very much like, we need a young priest and an old priest and a female priest and a Haitian priest and we needed, and it would have worked had they spent less time searching for the kids and more time making all of this shit make sense.
Yeah. It's like this guy, Angela's dad, he's not a religious man in any way. It's like, oh, but you're black, so we need to make sure we have a Haitian priest for you. And it's like, that's not right. But that's how it came across, and it just felt just cheap, man. It just didn't feel right. And I just thought that, I don't know if that's right or wrong for me to say that, but as an actor, if I was a black actor and say I was a Christian black actor, and then all of a sudden I took on a role, it's like, yeah, but you're black, so we need to have a Haitian priest for you.
Yeah.
For your side of the family. And he's like, well, hang about, like, I'm not Haitian.
and not only that, he's completely atheist. He doesn't believe at all. And they're kind of just like, the fact he doesn't believe, for him then to fucking round up all these faiths and agree to an exorcism is mind-boggling. I don't believe any of this shit, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to get all of this shit in my house, go exorcise my daughter. It's never going to happen.
He does and he doesn't. From that side of things, you can see he's desperate at this point and he's willing to try anything to save his daughter. And he's seen things now in order to be like, shit, maybe there is some sort of, like, this is otherworldly, what's going on. This is not right.
Yeah, I kind of get it. It's just really clunky. The exorcism itself, again, is really clunky. It's like the neighbour who was going to be a nun, she has a go and she reads some of the rites, and the girls fight back and they scream and they make things bang and they send her flying. And then we get the Haitian priest manages to get like part of the spirit out and expel it up the roof with some weird smoke. That was really cool. It looked great. And all the time, the father who was going to do the exorcism is outside because the church told him no.
You're not allowed to be involved. Yeah.
You're not allowed to be involved. And when she expels part of the spirit and it turns into ash, she gives it to the dad and goes, right, you need to take that to the east of the house and get rid of it. So he takes it to the east of the house and gets rid of it. And he sees the priest sat in the car. And he goes and knocks on the window of his car because the priest is praying. He's like, look, just so you know, the fight's in there, not fucking sat in your car, you twat.
Yeah.
And we go back in and there's a point where the girls look like they're about to win. They give them a choice. So they basically say, look, one of us is going to die and one of us is going to live, and you need to choose, or both these girls will die.
Yeah, and one thing we find out here in this moment is that when Angela's dad had to make that decision, and we assumed that he'd saved his daughter, it turns out that he didn't make a decision and he left it up to fate to decide for him.
Yeah, no, he chose his wife.
Did he?
Yeah, he chose his wife because the possessed Angela goes, you didn't even want me. You wanted me to die. You chose mum over me.
Oh, I missed that.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was basically he just left it and didn't pick.
No, he picked his wife over the baby.
Oh, I completely missed that. I thought it was basically saying, look, you left it and I survived. This time you have to choose. It's me or her.
No, this was
right, okay.
This was a you chose mum. Now it's me or a stranger. Do you hate me that much that you're not going to choose me?
Oh, really cool. Immediately, though, this was like, this is fucking awesome. I really like this. I love this introduction of this element.
I loved the choice element. I thought it was really good. I did telegraph where it was going quite early. I knew what was going to happen. I did
eventually, before what actually happened.
Yeah.
But I didn't pick up on it straight away. I think it was more after it. Yeah, I think it was when it happened, I was like, of course. Of course, that's what was going to happen.
See, I twigged it a lot earlier, but I watched so much possession movies that I understand when you're given a choice, it's not really a choice.
Yeah.
But they get the choice, and it's at this point the priest comes in like fucking Rambo, like kicks the door open and struts in like, I am a Catholic priest. I will sort this shit out. And he starts reading the rites. And he's got his cloth that he's got around his shoulders. And he's putting it on the girl's head. And all the way through, the nun, the Haitian priest, everyone's going, whatever you do, do not touch these girls. Don't touch them. And the priest rocks in. He's like, fucking hands on the heads. You will bow to the power of God. And as soon as he touched them, I was like, you shouldn't have done that.
No. I do like as well, though, like the tension in this final act. I know you're not a massive fan of it, but I was on the edge of my seat. At this point, before the priest burst through the door, like the Kool-Aid man, it's very much a case of you think, fuck, this is game over. Like, one of them is going to die. I was like, shit, I don't know who it's going to be, but one of these girls is fucked here. Yeah. And I can't make the decision on who I want it to be.
Yeah.
And then he bursts in, as you say, with his sunglasses on.
Honestly, when he burst in the door, I went, oh.
It's like Dr. Dre music should have been playing behind him. It's like, what the fuck?
Honestly, it would not have been out of place when he'd kicked that door out if it had gone, na, 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 na.
No, isn't it?
When he's got his hands and he's saying the rites, the girls start to turn their head. And as soon as they started to turn their head, I was like, I know what's going to happen. And we get the Exorcist head spin, but this time on a human whose heads don't spin. And they just break the priest's neck and he drops to the floor. This was cool.
Effects are really cool. Really cool effects on this.
They put a lot of work into the effects. Even the CGI, as much as I felt it was out of place, it was good quality what we got. It wasn't cheap.
No.
This is where I really start having issues. We flash back to Chris McNeil, who's laying in her hospital bed with a bandage across her eyes like Neo from The Matrix. And she starts reaching out in front of her like Neo from The Matrix. And she says the words, I can feel you. Like Neo from The Matrix. And honest to God, I was seething in my seat. I was like, you are not connected to these families enough. And you are not connected to this demon enough. This demon didn't give a fuck about you. He wanted your daughter. How all of a sudden have you got this magical psychic bond like the Force that you can reach out and try and influence the people there to help? Because that's what she was doing. It was awful.
Yeah. Terrible writing. Yeah, I didn't like this either. I have to agree with you on that.
Yeah, honestly, it felt like a Jedi moment. It was, these are not the girls you're looking for. That's what I got from it.
Yeah, but it didn't really have much bearing either. You could have quite easily cut that 10-second scene and it still would have made no difference to the story.
This was we need to get Chris McNeil in it a little bit more. How do we squeeze it in?
Yeah, exactly that.
We go back to the exorcism, which is now in full flow. They're all going at it now to try and get the demon out. And Catherine's dad goes, I choose you, Catherine.
Yeah, he'd run off into the other room. He'd basically lost his mind. He's a very weak man, which has been fairly established throughout most of this film. The decisions he's made surrounding this situation has shown signs of him not being able to handle the situation very well. He more often than not tends to run away, and he has run away mid-exorcism and gone and hid in another room.
Yeah.
So while everybody is working their hardest to try and release the demons from inside these children and staying positive and reinforcing with what they're doing, none of them are willing to make the decision to choose one of the kids. They're like, no, there's another way we can get through this. This cowering little man in the corner of this room shouts. He doesn't even come into the room. He shouts, "I choose you, Catherine."
Yeah.
And at which point, boom, it's game over.
But at which point we get a really good moment where Angela looks at her dad and says, "The devil played a trick on you." And then with that, fucking Catherine's like, it's all over for Catherine. She's done. She's gone.
Well, yeah, no, but Angela dies at this moment. We don't know straight away. Angela dies. The heart monitor basically separate because they've got the wired up to this heart monitor and basically the heartbeats are in sync.
Yeah.
So they're both beating on the exact same heartbeat. After he says, "I choose you, Catherine," the heart monitors separate and Angela's heart monitor rate goes down and she dies there and then. This is where they run in, they unstrap Angela from the chair. Her dad's holding her, he's in tears, he's in bits. Catherine starts to come back around to normal and starts to be herself again.
Yeah.
And you can see the dad in bits in the corner. He's holding Angela in his arms. And then we get this twist.
Yeah.
As you will.
Yeah.
And that's when it clicked for me in that moment. I was like, this is obviously a devil. He's playing a game. No matter who you pick, it's obviously going to be the opposite.
Yeah, the devil played a trick on you, and Angela comes back around and Catherine dies. And we kind of go from like this ending where we've lost Catherine and Angela's alive, and we get a little bit of seeing their life kind of normal-ish, and then we cut back to the hospital and Chris McNeil's laying there and she's like, "Oh, whatever Angela's dad's name is, oh, is that you?" And she's like, "No, it's me, Mama." And the camera pans around and it's Reagan. It's like, fuck off.
Awful scene. I hated this so much.
If you
It was so cringe, and it was so poorly lit, and it looked dreadful. And no offense to this is where you chip in and tell me the actress's name. So
I'm going to leave you alone. Go on, you go for it.
Why has my mind gone blank on this? I know it. Linda Blair.
There you go.
She has one line in this entire film.
Yeah,
and she cannot deliver it.
And if you've got Linda Blair willing to be involved, why the fuck is she involved now? And why was she not involved an hour ago?
Because this is the first in a trilogy.
Yeah, but you think if we'd have had the moment, instead of making it Chris McNeil, you make it Reagan who walks in there and goes, "We've met before." I have a lot more belief that Reagan knows how to expel a demon than Chris McNeil does.
I mean, the thing is as well, it's like, it's just clunky, it's poor, it's just a cheap little cash grab to have her in it, and it just doesn't work for me at all. And they've established throughout this whole film that Chris McNeil doesn't know where her daughter is, and then when we get to the exorcism part of it, they're telling her that Reagan's dead and she's in hell.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming that she doesn't even know that her daughter's died because she has no contact with her, but she has already died during the time of this absence from her mother.
Yeah.
And that she's now in hell. And I thought that was really cool. So she's dead.
And if she died, that makes more sense to Chris McNeil having the special powers and the connection, and because Reagan's helping her. I get that. That would have worked.
But it doesn't.
But it doesn't. We did not just witness the death of the Exorcist franchise, but possibly possession movies everywhere. Anyway, let's take a step into. We done something new this week. I got everyone's thoughts going into this before the movie was released. On Threads, Bearded Amoeba. I don't care much about critics. I don't care about wasting my money on a film that isn't worth my time either. David Gordon Green has a habit of making movies collapse in the second act and send me away angry. I'd rather not pay to be frustrated. Fair point. Instagram, this girl looks horror. I'm looking forward to this and seeing what they do. Also on Instagram, Rising Terror. Not much after I knew this was a trilogy. Wasn't expecting much at all. One enthusiastic horror fan official. Very, very skeptical after the rectal abomination that was Halloween Ends.
I'm still undecided on Halloween Ends. I've seen that about 10 times now since its release, and every time I watch it, I can't help but like it and hate it at the same time.
Video Tasties, he was expecting a piss poor film. It's not 3-word reviews, Gareth. This was give us your thoughts, but oh well. You try. At least you tried. We got Mike the Movie Misfit. I'm expecting a lot of copy and pasting jump scares, sadly. Kinda.
We got a lot of jump scares in this.
We did. Then we've got Oliver Bunn, writer. Could be good, probably going to be terrible. So that was everyone's thoughts going in. The question is, what did everyone think after they'd seen it?
Zoinks! 3-word reviews, man!
Is Gareth come back for this?
No, Gareth does not come back for this. Over on Slasher, we've got Ghostwalker 237, Exorcism for Beginners. And they're a horror account. We've got Threads, Christopher Warman, Piece of Garbage. He's a horror reviewer. We've got The Worst Millennial, a soulless film. And they're a writer and editor. Over on X, Jim's Retro Emporium, guest just a couple of weeks ago. Fuck the Critics. So Jim quite liked this. Kenneth Rex, well worth watching. They're a mixed fandom account, also quite like this. Terror Detective did not like this. Past the Cyanide. They're a horror account. Ghostface 2K20 also didn't like this. Disrespectful shit turd. They're a horror account. Ghost of Tennessee, really, really mid. And they're a cosplayer. Mike the Movie Misfit, he come back. Pazuzu went soft. And then Dewey Pod Monster with arguably one of the best 3-word reviews we have ever had in the history of the entire show ever. Pazuzu dies tonight.
Oh, that's brilliant.
And that I'm sure that doesn't happen until The Exorcist 2, The Exorcist Kills, that comes next.
Yeah. I don't know where I feel about this. I don't know how I stand on everyone's reactions to it.
Do you want to do recommended account while you think about it?
I do indeed.
Let me find you the music because I'm really unprepared. And there you go.
Recommended account of the week.
This week's recommended account is Return, Revenge, Resurrection. This is a podcast I've recently discovered. I'm kind of set in my ways with podcasts. I have like 5 that I listen to regularly and don't tend to branch out from that very often.
None of which are ours, I will just point out.
I spend enough time with you on a daily basis. I don't need to then listen to you every day as well. This is a podcast that I think is really, really cool. These guys have a very insightful way of looking at movies, and the way they organize their episodes as well is perfect. They run through a franchise as a franchise. So they'll review Halloween 1, then 2, then 3, then 4. And then once they finish that, they'll do a roundup of the overall franchise. So they'll do an episode, like a roundup episode on the entire franchise before then diving into another franchise. So they'll do Candyman 1, 2, 3, the remake, and then they'll do an epilogue episode where they'll do a roundup of the episodes.
Are you listening? Really cool. Listeners, are you listening? So when we put things in polls, like give us some sort of continuity, that'd be great.
Yeah, that would be fantastic. Don't make us jump into Saw 6 without doing the first 5. I really like these guys. I think their episodes are really good. They're really, really funny. And again, it's like if you're wanting to, it's like one thing I always find as well when you're listening to a podcast, if they've done like an episode, say, I'll stick with the Halloween franchise for the sake of it. If they've done Halloween 5, I'm then looking to find their Halloween 4 episode. How have you not done Halloween 4 yet, but you've done Halloween 5? You don't have to worry about these guys. They do a run through of each franchise. They're really cool. I've recently just discovered them, and I think they deserve as much sort of glowing recommendations as they can get. So go find them on Instagram at Return, Revenge, Resurrection. Check out their episodes. You'll probably find them Spotify, all the places you can check out podcasts. And tell them to join the Your Own Podcast network. That would be really cool.
News on the network coming shortly. By the end of November, we will have announced the first 10 or 12 members to the Your Own Podcast network, which is exciting.
Brilliant.
But before we talk about any of that, let's do...
It's time for facts and fuck-ups.
No, I used that one last week. Let's do this one.
Facts.
That's better.
We need to get him to record some more sound bites.
Yeah, I do. I need to reach out. I'll do that in the next week or so. So, facts this week. The names of the girls were chosen as Catherine means pure and Angela is a messenger of God. So they were purposely picked because they have religious meaning and religious context, which I thought was really cool.
Yeah, interesting enough, I suppose.
Ellen Bernstein had turned down the role multiple times. She was offered double her salary. A quote from her, "I feel the devil is my asking price." And she accepted and donated all of her salary to the MFA Scholarship for Actors to help new actors become big actors.
Oh, that's really cool. Was it she did that?
Amazing. And the fact that she basically went, nah. And they went, well, I think they offered her like 15% more. And she's like, you'd need to double it before I even considered it. And they would double it. And she went, okay, then.
That's it. And then she just give it all to charity.
Yeah, every single penny.
Brilliant.
Yeah, good for her. Yeah. Due to Taylor Swift's Era Tour concert, the film version coming to cinemas, that comes out on the 13th, this was pushed forward to the 6th of October. I still don't get it. I don't understand at what point they think that people who are going to watch The Exorcist Believer are also going to the Taylor Swift movie.
I don't get it either. It's Halloween season. People are going to the cinema to watch a Halloween movie. I mean, people are probably going to watch Taylor Swift as well, but...
Yeah, I mean, if you're a huge Taylor Swift fan and you would have gone to that over The Exorcist, call the show, leave us a voicemail, because I'd love to hear your reasons why you would choose one over the other. But saying that, having seen this, I would probably watch Taylor Swift over this.
No, you wouldn't. No, you wouldn't.
No, I really wouldn't. It was briefly rumoured that William Friedkin was going to be involved with this. When this got leaked online, Friedkin immediately tweeted saying, "There is not enough money or motivation in the world to get him involved."
Oh, he's recently just died as well.
He has. We're going to get there, sadly.
I hope that was his last tweet.
No, well, kind of, yeah. William Friedkin also said to a friend, so he's a friend of his, is a critic, Ed Whitfield. He's a big critic. And I quote, this is exactly what he said. "Ed, the guy who made these new Halloween movies is about to make one of my movies, The Exorcist. That's right, my signature film is about to be extended by the man who made Pineapple Express. I don't want to be around when that happens, but if there's a spirit world, I will come back and I plan to possess David Gordon Green and make his life a living hell."
And the thing is, he's just died. Poor Gordon Green.
So William Friedkin sadly died before this movie came out. So he genuinely is like, I don't want to see this made. I'm going to come back and make Gordon Green's life hell. He passed away and this movie has absolutely fucking bombed. So... maybe there is something in the spirit world we don't know about. Budget for this movie is quite guarded. So we know that the rights cost them $400 million and it's estimated $100 million per movie, including advertising for these films. So if you split that across 3 movies, because it's a trilogy, it's $240 million budget per movie. How much do you think The Exorcist has made up to today, the 13th of October?
70 million?
Less.
40 million?
52.
Ooh.
They have to make $200 million more to break even.
Oh, that's not good.
That's bad.
That's really bad.
There must be a moment now where the studio go, what do we do?
Well, there's loads of rumours circulating that David Gordon Green had been sacked.
I don't think it's been made official. I think they will sack him.
Do you?
I think
surely the other one's got to be in production and almost done by now, has it not? Are these not coming out yearly now, like he did with his Exorcist?
I think well, at the moment nothing's happening because there's an actors' strike. So I'm thinking that maybe it's 2025. I don't know. Maybe they got someone.
Oh yeah, because the writers' strike's over now, isn't it? So
yeah.
It's just the actors who are still striking.
So maybe they've got time to salvage it. Give it to someone who understands paranormal horror. Give it to Brian Fuller.
Mate, give anything to Brian Fuller. That guy is a fucking genius.
Literally, give any franchise you want to Brian Fuller, and you will make absolute bank every time.
Yeah, I can't wait to see what he does with Crystal Lake TV series. I think that's going to be, and I'm not a big Jason guy either, and I think he is going to work wonders with that.
Yeah, I do as well. We're going to play a game today. It's a fun little game called "I Will Make You a Believer." So I'm going to provide you with 3 tales of real exorcisms. Well, kind of. 2 of them are truths, 1 of them's a lie. So it's a spin on that, but 2 of them are stories about real life exorcisms that's happened, and 1 of them I made up.
Okay.
And all you need to do is tell me if it's a truth, or you need to tell me which one is a lie. So story number 1. This is Gottliebin Dittus. That's the name of the person. So this was a 20-year-old woman in Germany who first claimed her house was haunted. That's infestation. She then started entering trance-like states. That's influence. Before becoming violent, possession. See how this works? Gordon Green, are you listening? This is how we do it. She was placed under the care of an exorcist who conducted the rites of exorcism for 2 years every single day. Finally, the demon was expelled and the lady was fine. During the exorcism process, she vomited glass, nails, and spoke several languages. So that's your first story. The second story is in 1990, an exorcism of a young girl was greenlit by the Vatican. It was recorded and aired on ABC in 1991. The video saw the girl strapped to a chair. She barked, screamed, and shouted to the soundtrack of medieval music that was being played by the priest in the background to set the tone. The Reverend at one point said, "You want pain, I'm going to give it to you." The exorcism was a failure, and the girl was treated with antipsychotic drugs, and this relieved her demonic possession symptoms. Story number 3. In 1973, a young girl was allegedly possessed. After all medical options had been explored, her state did not improve. The Catholic Church authorized an exorcism which took several days to complete. During this time, she vomited many times, offered sexual favors to the priest, and spoke in many languages. The exorcism was considered a success despite many deaths that occurred close to the events at this time.
What did the priest say in the second story?
If you want pain, I'm going to give it to you.
That sounds like a Stone Cold Stunner reference. I'm going to say that one's not real.
That one is real. Do you want to take another guess? That is and it aired. If you go to Google, you can find this exorcism that aired on ABC Network, where in the background he's got like a tape recorder where he plays like medieval music to set the tone. It's awful.
It sounds like a walk-in from Stone Cold Steve Austin. I'll go. It's hard. That's really hard because all of them sound actually right. For once, you've not gone really elaborate and weird with your story. I'm gonna say you said speaking different languages in the first 3. I honestly don't know. I'll go with the third one. I think the third one's not real.
The third one is not real because the third one was set in 1973. The third one, the third one is the plot to The Exorcist.
Oh.
Let's be honest, all 3 of them had better plots than this movie, at least.
Oh, I don't know.
I'm going to let you take roundup on this first because my roundup, I'm just scrolling through like bullet points I've written, and I've got a page of bullet points for this.
Right, I'll keep mine brief because I know you're going to go off on a tangent with this. I'm not a big possession guy. I'm not really into possession movies as a whole. They don't really entice me too much. I love the original Exorcist. I think it is a phenomenal and groundbreaking movie and probably one of the best horror movies ever made, which is strange, really, considering how much I love that movie, that I don't really find myself watching possession and exorcism movies too much. Maybe that's because none of them hold a candle to that film that was made back in the 70s. This time around, I thought the casting was fantastic. I really liked everyone, especially the dad. I thought he gives a great performance.
Yeah.
I love the fact that they split it into two and that it's two children possessed, and the way that they tie the two together throughout the story, especially at the end with the reveal of you had to pick one or the other for the climax. I thought that was really compelling, really gripping and thought-provoking as a way of how it was going to pan out. I really loved that side of it. I like the build-up where they're searching for the kids at the beginning. I think it's really cleverly done, but again, it does drag and it is quite slow. There is a lot of jump scares in this, which are unnecessary and unneeded. The inclusion of Reagan at the end is god-awful. One of my biggest things that I really disliked about this movie is at the end where Catherine dies, and we didn't talk about it on our walkthrough, is the scenes we get where she dies and she is pulled underwater, basically into hell. And we get a lot of flashing imagery on the screen.
Yeah.
And we also get an insight into the other side, and it really didn't work for me at all. One thing that I really like about a lot of possession movies, for the ones that I have seen, is they always keep it grounded to the point where, is it or is it not true? You know, you always walk away from them thinking, yeah, but that could be easily explained or easily justified. Or, you know, you always have that element of, is it or is it not true, basically? Like, could this be justified in a way without religion or without possession and just somebody who's suffering from ill health, or, you know, and then they just took it that step too far for me at the end by showing too much. Just too much on the screen for me in that moment. I really hated that, and it really compromised the ending for me. Another thing, and I know this is a roundup where I'm trying to justify why I like this film, but one thing that the original did is the flash images we get of Pazuzu throughout that first film are so brief, so quick, that you would have to literally pause the film to be able to see them.
Yeah.
You never even really saw them the first time you watched this in a cinema. It was one of those things where not until it became digital that you actually could pick up on these flash images.
Yeah.
This tries to replicate that,
but shows them for about 3.5 seconds per flash.
And it looks awful, and it just looks stupid, and it's like you completely missed the point of that.
Yeah.
And there is a lot of things throughout this film that David Gordon Green did miss the point of. But as a whole, I don't think this film deserves the hate it's getting. I don't think it's a bad movie at all. I enjoyed watching it. I enjoyed my time with it. If you're going to try and live up to The Exorcist, you're never going to be able to do that.
No.
Ever.
Okay.
Ever. And I just think for what he delivered within that timeline, with the inclusion of the original story and the fresh ideas and takes he brought to it, I rather enjoyed. His direction, as always, is really, really good. His editing is a bit wonky in this. This is probably some of the worst editing that he's produced in terms of movies. His transitions from scene to scene is sketchy at best. It's not the worst, but it's also not the best. I enjoyed it, but I probably wouldn't watch it again. I'm going to give this a 3 out of 5.
Okay. I take that you had a different experience to me. So strap in, everybody. I started this episode by saying that possession movies are my thing. And there are some possession, there's a lot of trash possession movies, but there's some that are on another level, like The Exorcism of Emily Rose, The Possession of Hannah Grace. These movies are exceptional. On my first watch, I was really unsure how I felt, so I went back in and I watched this again, and this is where I am. This is not one of the good ones, in my opinion. The bastardization of what we know to be almost possession lore was a huge misstep. The infestation, influence, possession, exorcism, then death or victory, depending on how that process goes. The movie skipped the two most intriguing parts, the infestation and the influence. With The Exorcist, you get like the Captain Howdy bits and the changes of behavior. And that happens over the first 30, 40 minutes of the movie is all about the change in this happy young girl of Reagan into this possessed monster. And in this, they go into the woods, they come back and they're this monster. You get one scene where she comes back and she's a bit creepy. And they just skipped the whole thing. And it really annoyed me. And it left me without having a bond to the character like I did with Reagan. I didn't really care for either of these characters because I hadn't seen enough of them be normal and I hadn't seen this thing affect and take over their lives. The performances of the young actresses were phenomenal. Both of them are outstanding. But instead of focusing on them, they shifted the attention to the parents. And I don't give a fuck about the parents. I care about the possessed girls. And I didn't get to see enough of them. They used more CGI than I liked, but like I said, it was good quality. The rough cut directing and sequencing between scenes was amateurish and can't even be compared to the original. You could take Chris McNeil out of this movie, like Raiders of the Lost Ark. You take Indiana Jones out, and it makes absolutely no difference to the story of this movie. It's a criminal waste of bringing her back. It's an even more of a waste bringing Reagan back for 5 seconds at the end, just so fans went, oh, it's Reagan. It's just cheap. It had so much potential to deliver, and it failed on every level for me. I hated it. I can't solely blame David Gordon Green. I blame Blumhouse. I blame the writers, the story developments. They're all equally guilty for delivering a subpar sequel to a cornerstone of horror and arguably one of the greatest movies ever made. It's a 3 out of 10, and it gets that solely based on the performances of the actresses. And the rest of the cast were good. It's a paint-by-numbers horror movie, bringing nothing new, failing to expand on the story and the ideas. It is a kick in the face to Exorcist fans and an insult to William Friedkin, who didn't even get an in memoriam in the credits, even though he passed away 2 years before this movie. Wow. Sorry, 2 months before this movie. Not even an in memoriam. It's an absolute disgrace. I'm done with this week. I'm done with this movie. I will not watch the sequel.
Fucking hell. I knew you were going to go hard on this, man. I didn't think you were going to fucking drop mic.
Honestly, I get what they tried to do. They just fucked it up so bad. And they'd done test screenings where the whole world who went to those test screenings went, you fucked this up so badly. And they went, yeah, we have. And then they released it. They didn't change anything. They left it as shit as it was. This got I think it was getting 23, 24% in test screenings. The critics scores are 23, 24% now. Why didn't they listen and make the alterations? I don't understand.
I didn't think it was that bad, man. I think you just need to go for a nap.
Well, I'm looking forward to better times because next week we're going all musical with an episode that's coming to YouTube as well. If you decide to view that on YouTube, you will get to see me and Mark in full costume as we do the Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Why do we do this, man? For God's sake.
I'm not even sure how this happened.
This is you. This is solely you. You have these ideas, and I always get dragged into them.
I think it wasn't even me. I think it was I think I asked what movie people wanted us to do this month, and Rocky Horror won by a landslide. And someone went, you have to do it in costume. And I think I polled it. And I think it was 100% everyone went, yeah, that's a great idea.
Of course they're going to do that. They want us to look like idiots. You should never have polled that option.
Well, I did, and we're going to do it. So, hey ho. But until then, I see you shiver with anticipation.
Oh, You should have just opened the next episode with Patient. That would have been perfect. You've missed the opportunity of a lifetime there.
God damn it. I'll see you all next week.
Cheers, guys. See you next week.
And, before I forget,
I'll kill you if this is a joke.
You want to die tonight?
The You Run Podcast.
The You Run Podcast.
The You Run Podcast. The You Run Podcast.
Why isn't it possible?
I can't say nothing. Or Candyman will get me.
You choose the movies.
I had a hard-on this morning when I woke up, Tina. Had your name written all over it.
You score them.
Nice fucking model!
You review them.
For that you get the head, the tail, the whole damn thing.
Why not, you stupid bastard?
My name is very fucking confused. What's your name?
Captain Howdy.
You don't want to go fooling around other folks' property.
My goddamn soul. Where's a beer?
Because after all, this is not our show. This is your show.
Hello, our little secret band of adventurers who are aware that this bit exists. And there are a few of you. There's not many of you, which is really cool. This week's challenge, in fact, if you're new here, this is our challenge now to win a guest spot on the show. And all you need to do is follow the challenge and not tell a soul. If you tell a soul, you're disqualified and can't play again. So this week's challenge is really simple. When this episode drops, all you need to do is reply to my story. I'm going to put a thing on my story that says, "What do you think?" And all you need to do is reply to that story on Instagram with "I believe." If you're not on Instagram, you can find our behind the scenes post that we do every single week. And on that comment, "I believe." And if you believe, you may end up a guest on this show.
Nice.
But yeah, anyway, thanks for being part of our little secret club. It's great. It's like a little clique. There's only a few people in it. It's like when the show first started and we had like no listeners. It's great. I'm talking to a very select few who listen all the way to the end, and I think that's fabulous.
How many is there participating in this? That'd be a lot.
The first week there was 3 across all social media, so everyone gets to the end credits and goes dunk and turns it off.
I do the same things. I'm surprised there's 3, to be honest.
I'm guessing those 3 had this on in the car and didn't get to the button quick enough. I went, "Oh, there's more." But I think it will grow because I think someone's going to leak it out and tell people, and then it will grow. And
yeah,
we'll see. Anyway, thank you very much for listening. Thanks for being part of our secret club, and we'll see you all soon.
Cheers, guys. See you next week.